Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Welcome to Video Store Graveyard, where we dig up movies worth watching and sometimes make sure they stay buried where they rightfully belong. As always, this is Dano.
I'm Andrew.
Tex.
And today we're continuing the excursion into Christmassy movies that aren't exactly Christmassy, or they share a theme only, and it happens around Christmas time. And there's a lot of Christmas horror movies these days, but we're going to be talking in particular about one of the OGs, not just OG Christmas horror, OG thriller slasher. Maybe one of the original slasher movies. I would put it at that at least.
This comes up very much Black Christmas in the subject of first slasher films for sure.
Yeah, and so 1974, so it precedes Halloween, and it's got a great cast, including Olivia. I believe it was Olivia Wilde or Olivia
Wilde. Oh wow,
not Olivia Wilde. She was
wow.
Olivia. I'm thinking of is the Olivia Hussey, who was also in a version of Romeo and Juliet. I vividly remember seeing in high school because there were breasts in it. But also, it also has Lois from Superman,
Margot Kidder.
Yeah, and this movie is one of those. To break it down a little bit before we get into all the great stuff about it, because I know y'all have got a lot to say about it. I have a lot to say about it. I watch this nearly every year. Also, this is kind of like the good one I watch before I watch the other two. It follows along with the urban legend of the babysitter and the man upstairs. The classic urban legend that was utilized in several movies, but I think it was utilized the best in this one, and that's the great. It's been parodied in an old Pepsi commercial I remember seeing with a penguin. It's like the phone calls coming from inside the house. Like that's the thing. I mean, when a stranger calls, so many movies have done this, but I think Black Christmas does it the best. Sorority house is being terrorized by prank calls, by somebody making weird animal sounds and screeching noises and perverted moaning. And they're kind of messing with him, and he's messing with them, but you don't know who's doing the calls. And I'm going to let you guys go from there. I'm getting a little too excited just thinking about like that opening crawl sequence of him going into the attic. So
okay, before we get into any discussion about this film, I want to say how much I laughed at this movie, but not in the sense of it being bad, but like, it would do something that would make me laugh. Like, for instance, the woman who is the head of the sorority has an alcohol problem, and it's pretty bad because she keeps constantly hiding alcohol bottles throughout the house. And I thought that was kind of funny when it kept happening throughout the film.
I was wondering about that, and I don't think it was her alcohol. I think
I thought about that too.
I think she was finding their stash because she knew where to look. And so she would find it hidden in a book. Because it's not like she automatically knows. She just kind of like, I bet this is where one of them is.
No, it's hers. It's hers.
I don't know. It's hers because all the other characters are clearly drinking in the film. In front
all
of
the
them.
other characters have no reason to hide their alcohol. They carry it with them everywhere they go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I still say that maybe that she knows where some of it is, because it doesn't seem like she's. I don't know. I've always interpreted it as it was hidden, and she just knew where to look for the stash. But I never thought of it as being particularly hers from the get-go. But maybe so. Who knows? It is hilarious little sequences every time it happens, and that is one of the more entertaining characters, especially when she's having to deal with the parent that shows up and sees the picture on the wall. It's very much a sorority. It's a sorority house. You get that vibe. It's 70s sorority. Well, maybe my favorite line. What was the line Margot Kidder gives?
The fellatio line?
What's that?
The fellatio?
she starts saying, she starts spelling out numbers, and she goes fellatio to. I can't remember the exact number she gives.
Oh no, that was great too. I was going to talk about how she said you can't rape a townie.
Oh, I thought you were gonna...
yeah, that was hardcore.
See, I thought you were gonna bring up the whole turtle thing. I didn't know if you were gonna bring that up.
The turtle thing as well. You know what? Margot Kidder is this movie. Honestly, she is a nice, shining light, a nice Christmas shining light in this horror movie with her drinking and her smoking and her attitude and her one-liners and her jokes and even the way she looks at people, and just like it was a pleasure seeing Margot Kidder in this movie. I'll tell you what.
For sure, man. She and of course she's the first one to really like mouth off to the caller. First she's kind of like getting into it. It's like, okay, now we're talking, and then she's like, okay, and then she tells him to basically where he can go, and yeah, I agree with you, man. She's one of the best parts about this movie. When I first saw it, I didn't know she was in it, and I was like, hey, it's Lois. It's like, man, this Lois in her college years is hardcore.
So to round off a little bit on Dano talking about the actors and actresses in this movie, it was also surprising to see. I think he's called Keir Dullea from Dave from 2001 and 2010. Like, I had no idea this guy was I've never seen him in anything else other than those movies. And John Saxon, again, playing a cop before he was a cop in The Nightmare on Elm Street. So I could see why they hired him as a cop. And so him being in it too, like, the ensemble cast in this movie was pretty cool. They all meshed together well. And had good chemistry. What do you think there, Andrew?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I thought that they all had pretty good chemistry. In general, I thought that the chemistry the actors had between each other was pretty solid. The acting was pretty great. What's very important is everybody feels like a real person. Everybody feels like, they're really in like a sisterhood in the sorority whenever it's going on and all that stuff. So it's a really cool little neat film that has some pretty good chemistry between it. What about you, Dano?
I agree with that, and of course, as you mentioned, John Saxton, it's nice seeing that kind of veteran character actor. That everybody, he brings a whole different energy to that particular role. It's also, and here's something that I don't think this movie is dated at all. I think that I think it is one of those that people will watch though that living in current, if you've never experienced some of the older phone tech, we live in an age with hardly any landlines. And you have that whole segment of them kind of tracing the call. That was always a weird moment to me. Like, is there a room? Was there a room that people walked through to trace the lines back? That was a very weird.
That was crazy.
But also really kind of cool segment. Like, actually manually having to kind of trace the line of where the phone call's coming from. I want to talk a minute about because I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but what really to me makes this movie work, why it's my favorite slasher even over Halloween, is just the genuine first-person creepiness. They did this before Michael Myers ever put the mask on. They did this before a lot of things. You've got that opening crawl into the attic of who we can only assume is the guy making the calls. And that, how's he doing the calls from? Well, the calls are coming from inside the house. Well, but it's all first person, going into the creepy attic with all the weird stuff in it. And he's there the whole time. And you never know anything about him, who it is. You only have weird clues of some of the weird stuff that he yells, which sometimes sounds like more than one person. But it's like Agnes, don't tell him what we did. It's like, it's me, Billy. So the guy, Billy's the voice. And that's all we really know about the voice.
I got to say, those phone calls throughout the entire movie, they were very effective. I honestly cringed when I heard it. It was very like an old... No one makes sound effects like that anymore in these new movies where they actually find sounds that are actually different and weird in a creepy way that they put together in a way that's supposed to like give you dread and like kind of terrify you. And each and every one of these phone calls in its own way, with the double, triple voices, the perverted sounds, the cursing, just all the moaning, the yelling, the scream. It really was effective to me. I thought it sounded scary, and it didn't sound. I didn't think it sounded stupid at any point. I thought it was very, very strong, just as far as a narrative and like putting these girls slash women through the ringer with terrifying them and scaring the bejesus out of them. It was very effective with the phone calls.
For sure. And of course, also the imagery, the first sequence, that first kill. And this is one of those movies. I will say, once again, everybody knows that we do spoiler podcast. We know no one's listening to this and if I would say at this point, if you haven't seen it ever before, this would be the point to stop listening completely, because I'm going to talk about kills now.
Kills.
That first one kind of sets the tone for the whole movie. Girl's about to be going home from the sorority house, and you get that sequence of basically the plastic wrap from a hanging suit coat used to suffocate her. And there's that point where she's like, "Is there something in there? Is there something in that closet?" Which is like this, and then of course there is. It's this guy. But she ends up sitting up in that rocking chair the rest of the movie. Her body, her corpse.
That was sad.
By the window, face wrapped in plastic, rocking back and forth.
Again, that was very effective. No blood, no guts, no knives, no axes, no guns. Just a plastic bag over a dead body, rocking in the very top of the building, looking out the window, while everyone's doing their thing, wondering, where did she go? The cops are looking for her. The whole neighborhood's looking for her.
And you hear the Christmas carols in the background.
There's Christmas carols in the background, and she's up there dead. Truly, it was very effective. There's so many things that were done in this movie that were effective, that didn't look like that costed very much money. And, you just don't get a lot of that these days, I think.
Yeah, Andrew, what do you think?
I think it's a pretty solid kill, It is going back to a more simpler time before it was, bloody and gory kind of kills, and it's kind of, a unique way that they did it, where they just put it over the head. I really did think that was like a very nice kill, though. That sounds weird when I said that back.
Okay. And I also think about that, because one of the last shots you see in the movie is also backing away from the movie. Body's still up there because they haven't found it.
Yeah.
But it's in the chair. And Billy's still in the house. There's lots of moments that are whodunit moments in this, that you think you know who it is that's doing the crimes, all the way up until almost the very end. And it's a real kick in the teeth when you hear that voice again at the end. And then, of course, in the window. Is he decorating for Christmas? Who knows? He did wrap her up in kind of like a present. I don't know. Anyway, I'm always trying to find weird reasons why characters do things, especially around holidays.
I gotta like support what you said about the ending, that it's almost in a weird way, like, even though it doesn't come full circle at the end, in a weird way it does come full circle at the end. Does that make sense? Because this poor girl is still not found. She's still dead up there looking down the window while everyone thinks that they've got everything figured out. Some poor dude got killed. They thought this poor dude was the killer, and they killed him, and he's not the killer.
Yeah.
The den mother, the sorority house mother, is also up there dead. I mean, it's kind of a bleak ending. But I got to say that it was really well done. The slow methodical pace of this movie. I don't think you can get away with that kind of slow, methodical pace now. Everyone wants everything with quick edits, fast action.
I'll say this. The right people can appreciate a movie like this who don't mind pacing that, isn't like quick, 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 quick. This is a movie that is, smarter than that, and it takes its time to get to the buildup of where it's getting to, and where it's going at. So hopefully that makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure, man. And also, one of the other things that I like, and I keep comparing this also to other slashers just because I see this as a forerunner of all of them and one of the ones that hadn't topped it. But once again, you've got an ending with an ambiguous call or ambiguous voice, and the killer is still out there. To me, that's one of those things like I don't like it when a movie completely wraps itself up and package and sells it for you. I like it where, especially in horror, when things are left a little askew at the end, things aren't solved. There is not a happy ending. It's like you said, bleak, very bleak ending. But and just going to take a little twist down the rabbit hole here, guys, for a second about this movie, and compare it and bring it into context with another movie that is not related exactly, but there's a theory about it. Okay, are either of you familiar at all with Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon?
No.
It's kind of okay. We need to talk about that because they're going to draw an illusion at some point between this movie and that movie. Because there's the actor that played Herschel in Walking Dead, whose name escapes me at this point. He plays a character in that movie who is a retired slasher killer guy who's kind of like, he was like the mentor of the new guy that's coming in. And he talks about a little bit about a sorority house and everything, and about how he's kind of like a one and done type guy. And I was like, hey, man, he's the guy from Black Christmas. Anyway, that's a little meta here. We'll cross that bridge later on down the trail if we ever hit on Rise of Leslie Vernon. But it made me laugh because I was thinking, hey, yeah, he's the guy from Black Christmas. I wondered what ever happened to that guy. I guess he retired and trained another serial killer. Anyway. I
want to bring up the Christmas aspect of Black Christmas, by the way, because if y'all remember the last episode, I talked about how I used to not really care for Christmas horror movies or horror movies in general during Christmas. I gotta say, not just with horror movies, but with movies in general, when they try and portray Christmas time, sometimes it doesn't come off the right way. Sometimes it looks like the makers and the producers and directors and whatever, even the actors, are trying too hard to make you feel like it's in Christmas. I gotta say, Black Christmas did a phenomenal job of setting the tone of Christmas during the movie, and not making it seem like they were trying too hard. It did feel like Christmas. Yeah. And not only did it feel like Christmas, it felt like an authentic Christmas. All the decorations felt very authentic. It felt like it was the time period. It felt like the actors weren't trying hard to throw in your face that it was Christmas. It just felt very natural. And I don't really think a lot of movies can do that very much anymore these days. Everything seems so fake when it comes to
right.
What do you think, Andrew?
Well, because this movie is okay, so there's like two ways of doing Christmas in a film, and I feel this movie did not do the corporate version of Christmas, which is like kumbaya and everybody holds hands and there's a message. This is more of a movie where it takes place during Christmas and they don't stab it down your throat every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
that's Christmas. This movie naturally does it. Hey, it's snowing, it's cold outside, it's dark. There's Christmas songs. It's all natural and it feels great. Yeah. Unlike some other films I've seen where they just go, okay, we're going to push all this crap in front of you and say it's Christmas.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I can't stress enough how Margot Kidder is just freaking awesome in this movie. Seriously. And I got to say, I want to talk about the scene where she's getting this kid drunk, where they're doing this little party. And,
oh, yeah.
and she's letting this kid who's staring at her, who obviously he wants a drink. this little boy doesn't say anything, but I remember that time when I was a little kid and I saw adults drinking, and I'm like, I want to sip, you know, I'm like, I want to drink. And that look on the kid's face was exactly that feeling. And Margot Kidder's letting this kid sip from her alcohol, and she's getting a kick out of it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't do that anymore these days.
Oh,
These
hell no,
days
you
you get
can't.
sued if you try and portray that, it seems like. But that was a nice little treat. Very
Well,
humorous.
well, you say that, but then Shazam has a scene about that. Although I suppose they spit it out right away.
That's true, but they do spit it out. This kid kept drinking, and this little boy enjoyed drinking that alcohol, and Margot Kidder enjoyed giving it to him.
Yeah, yeah. This is maybe my favorite. I mean, she's a great actress, but this is my favorite role she did, just because of the character itself, and it's just so fun. And probably one of the more artsy and creepy kills of the movie is Margot Kidder late in the movie. Glass unicorn ornament. Who would have thought?
I know.
Man, that's hardcore. And once again, you just get a quick glimpse of the guy. You never see the killer's face completely. You see like an eye there, and you kind of see like this 70s male hairdo. It's like some white 70s guy that looks kind of like the boyfriend of Olivia, a little bit,
right,
not entirely. That is something also. Just quick comparison to here I am going again. I'm not going to go crazy like Leslie Vernon this time, but the idea of the boyfriend and the musician and him having trouble with his own composition, that's very Italian horror. I don't know whether y'all got that or not. It's almost always very Dario Argento, music school student at a college, and he's stressing out over something that's going on, and it affects his performance. And so you get him as this suspect for a while. But I got that real vibe about this movie from some of the Giallo movies that Dario Argento and Lucio Fulci did. Reminded me of this, although this came out. This is about the same time, and it's so it's a little interesting comparison there, that these kind of beautiful slashers coming out in the 70s, and when it was kind of its own art form.
It is a beautiful movie. I'll give it that. It's a really beautiful looking film. Did we get into discussion of how the killer is portrayed in the film, though? Like the way the camera is portrayed, how we're seeing him?
Yeah, I feel like the whole first person thing. Yeah, like that opening crawl in particular.
I quite frankly enjoyed that segment a lot, because I'm curious to watch the behind the scenes to know how they did it, because it looks very hardcore and hard how they did it. Because I like how the camera goes up with them, and you feel like you really are inside of the killer's head while that's going on.
Right.
I mean, really.
For sure. Very effective camera work and overall just a great slasher, but also happens to happen at Christmas and makes it a you'll be sorry kind of movie. So guys, what do y'all think? Overall assessments, Tex, what do you think?
Overall assessment, I had no idea this movie was going to be, and don't get me wrong, like it's not a perfect movie, but I don't say that in a negative way. I had no idea that it would be as good as I thought it was. There were a few boring parts. I didn't appreciate some of the longer exposition dialogue scenes where just stuff wasn't going on. There was some personal issues between, the couple and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But overall, I was very, very satisfied with many, many things. With the Christmas aspect, with the effectiveness of horror and terror without blood and gore, and the actors and actresses that made up the ensemble that made it feel authentic. So I'll go ahead and throw in. I'll give this, and I don't want this to be construed as a bad thing, but I'll give this 2 horns up. Just because of some of the boring parts that were in the movie, because I don't know. I mean, I guess I have a short attention span these days, and But two horns up though, I feel like is that's like way better than some of the zeros and four horns down that I've given in the past.
I think of you as being one of the more holding back of your. You don't overdo. I have a tendency to kind of blow my load when it comes to horns, and you're much more reserved, and you kind of like, more conscientious of how you're going to use those horns. So
yeah,
good job on not being a horn slut. Yes. Good job. No, I appreciate that rating. That's good, man. Andrew, what do you think, man?
Four horns all the way. So I did want to mention, because Tex complained about the slow pacing and all that. I guess I'm more of a laid back person, so I don't mind slower pacing and all that. And I kind of enjoy, the thrill of knowing, okay, what's going to happen next, and the suspense of knowing what's going to happen next, without the movie having to go every 30 seconds. But in general, I just thought it was a really well-directed film. There's not much I could find that I didn't like about it. Seemed like a huge budget film for considerably very low from what I read. Not even $1 million, if I'm correct, which I could be wrong about that if you want to check that later on.
I think you're right on that.
But I mean, it's a nice looking film. There's good acting throughout the whole flick. I enjoyed every minute that I was watching it. And it's a very nice little whodunit film that doesn't really have a positive ending. And I'm okay with that. I don't mind that it doesn't have a great ending, like, oh, everybody holding hands and finding out who the killer is, unlike according to the new trailer for the remake. That's all we're going to discuss on that one. But this current film that I did watch, it was pretty rad and I enjoyed it. Four horns up.
Yeah, and I will probably second that. Tex, I do feel where you're going from with that dialogue. The only, in fact, that was one of the only things I had an issue with, except for the fact that it's the only thing that gives you maybe the other subplot that maybe the killer isn't a random guy in an attic, but maybe it is the boyfriend, and it just kind of alludes to that. But I'm going to go ahead and give this 4. I'm giving it 4 for several reasons. Not only is this one of my favorite Christmas horror movies, it's also my favorite slasher, and it's maybe my favorite horror movie overall. It's one of my top 5 for sure. I loved this movie ever since I first saw it. It scared the hell out of me. And home invasion stuff is, to me, the most terrifying shit out there. So I'm going to give it 4 horns up. And for anybody that has never seen the original 1974 slasher classic Black Christmas, watch it before you know what? If you want to enjoy the remakes, maybe watch them first. But I say don't ruin a classic for yourself. Go and watch this and enjoy it and watch a piece of cinematic slasher history.
I want to mention that you even mentioned there's a 2006 one, because I didn't even know that there was even a remake period about this movie until you had even told me, Dano. I didn't know.
There's actually 2 remakes now.
There's going to be a third one, and oh well.
No, this is the second coming up here in a minute.
Oh yeah, it's the second one. It's the third film that has been technically, it's the third Black Christmas, but it's the second remake.
And if maybe
we'll discuss that. But
and if you're looking for the titles, an easy way to go on it is if it came out in 1974 and actually spells Christmas, then you're the right one. If it came out in the 2000s and it has Xmas, wrong movie. So no mix-ups behind the video store boxes on this one. You should be getting the right one if you're looking for it. And unfortunately, it was available for streaming and it seems to be in limbo again. So can't point out recommendations yet. Oh wait, do you know where they can find it if they want to watch it?
It's on Vudu for sure. It's on Vudu.
It is on Vudu. Okay, so it's on Vudu and it's on Tubi. I believe both of them have ads, but I could be wrong about that. I think Tubi has less ads than Vudu, but either way, you can watch it absolutely for free if you have a Vudu account. I don't think you need to actually have an account to do that, but I could be wrong. I don't know about that one. But Tubi, you absolutely don't need an account for that. That's on Roku channel. download the app, and you're ready to go and watch Black Christmas.
And they do have Blu-rays available out there that have
Shout
some
Factory.
special features and stuff. So
Yeah, and I want to pick this up on Blu-ray if I ever get a chance. I think it'd be worth it.
I'd give a shout out to Shout Factory because they are the ones who are behind this Blu-ray specifically, and they have been restoring a lot of 80s, 70s horror flicks that have been either forgotten or people that just don't remember in general, like Exorcist 3 and films like that as well.
Well, and then that's a good lead in into our next movie, and if y'all don't mind, I'll take the lead on that one.
go right ahead, buddy.
Talking about movies that people forget about, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is our next Christmas movie here we're going to review. And I wouldn't be surprised if everyone forgot about this movie after they saw it. Nowhere near as good as Black Christmas. Greasy Strangler is 10 times better than this movie. And I just got to say...
That's not a challenge. Greasy Strangler is better than 90% of... Never mind.
But so Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is the next Christmas movie we're going to dig up here tonight. And this is obviously a sequel to Silent Night, Deadly Night. And, they play a lot of the scenes from Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1 to recap. Although this is the longest recap in the history of movies, I would venture to say. If anyone wants to disagree, they can.
No, they pretty much repackaged the first movie and shot a few new scenes.
Right, and so it continues the story of the family who was. It continues the story of Ricky, who is the little brother of the two brothers who survived from the family, the two parents that were murdered during Christmas time by a Santa Claus, and totally scarred, the older of the two brothers, which was Billy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Billy.
And Billy met his demise, and Ricky was the little brother who takes the mantle now of the Silent Night, Deadly Night killer. And he recaps his story to psychiatrists so that the audience can learn how it led to this point.
It's the same movie all over again.
Yeah.
Just not as good. Remotely.
Now that I've introduced it a little bit, who wants to take over?
Okay. I want to say some things.
Go for it.
Go right ahead, bro.
I have a question for you, Tex.
What?
Garbage Day? If anybody isn't aware what that quote is, it's the infamous quote from this film that we watched. Oh God, this movie kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Everything that was enjoyable and great about, at least cool about, the first Silent Night, it's just not as cool here, and it seems like they just kind of redid scenes. And I don't know, the acting just isn't as good. The camera work is okay, I guess. It's not perfect, but what am I expecting out of a low-budget horror film? What we're given here is kind of a horror film that really doesn't even have as cool as kills as the first one, to be honest. And the backstory is just not that fun to me. But Dana or Tex, I'll let you
hold on.
Say what you want to say.
All right, here we go.
Go.
First off, I like that you did bring up Garbage Day. This movie got a new life thanks to the internet and thanks to YouTube, from a scene where Ricky, played gloriously by Eric Freeman in a blue sweater, goes on a massacre in the neighborhood.
Gloriously, really?
And yells "Garbage Day" at a guy taking out his trash before he shoots him, and it's become parodied, and it's almost up there with "Oh my God" from Troll 2, and it's great meme, and because of that, people are like, "What the hell is this from?" Well, it's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and I'm going to argue a little devil's advocate, but also I may kind of believe it. No, I don't. Silent Night, Deadly Night's a better movie. But I'm going to argue that this is a great movie because of the performance of Eric Freeman, where Billy was so restrained and shy. Ricky is over the top and crazy. And just the interactions with him and the psychiatrist are hilarious. The way he takes out Skip with his own red car, good point, is another one of my favorite moments. And yeah, Ricky is unhinged, to say it lightly. I believe there's the great, not as good at kills. There's an umbrella kill, my guy. There's an umbrella kill. you cannot knock the kills. The kills might be the one thing this movie has over the first movie. That might be the one thing.
I think I'll have to, you know what, retract my statement and be, you know what, as much as I don't enjoy every other thing about this movie, some of the kills are pretty rad. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are kind of fun.
And Ricky's laugh as he's like, ah ha ha ha, through the neighborhood, and the police and everything. It's completely insane and batshit and unnecessary. It's an unnecessary remake that they somehow made happen. They actually went on to do 4 or 5 more, or 3 or 4 more Silent Night, Deadly Nights. Only one involving Ricky. Part 3 has Ricky played by none other than Otis Driftwood himself, Bill Moseley, from Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. So, not at all doesn't look at the remotest like Eric Freeman. I have also a special place in my heart for both the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. I got to meet both Billy and Ricky and get pictures as I was dressed as Mother Superior on both of those occasions with both actors.
Yes, you were dressed up as Mother Superior.
I was, and it was very laughable when I went in there. But they were like, "Oh my God!" And I'm holding my belt wrapped up in my hand, like I'm gonna do some damage. Mother Superior, man. In this movie, she's got a scar. She's had a stroke. She's in a wheelchair, and Ricky goes after her like nobody's business. But most of the movie, as y'all said, it's a rehash of the first one. It's lots of flashbacks with very weird narration by Ricky, and you really don't need to see this except for the memes and for some of the over-the-top stuff. The best bet, I would say, is trying to find a double feature of this like I did, where you get part 1 and part 2 on the same double disc thing. And anyway, guys, I'll let one of you guys take over, and then unless y'all are already ready to get this one over and done with.
Andrew, what do you got? Let it all out, man. Just let it all
out. Okay, sorry. I'll let it out. I feel like I've already let most of it out, how I felt about this film, but
yeah,
kind of sucks. I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating myself.
You're just going to keep saying it sucks over and over until...
I feel like this is going to happen. I'm just going to keep going, this movie sucks. I'm going to start going crazy like Ricky. I'll be like, movie sucks? But in general, if anything saves this film from completely being terrible, the kills are not bad. They're enjoyable to watch. Wish I could say the same thing about the acting. The acting is kind of hokey, and maybe this movie was supposed to be kind of a comedy, but I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know, because the first movie was definitely deadpan serious, a serious horror film. So I don't know if they were going for more of a parody, kind of like what's the movie I'm thinking of? Sleepaway Camp 2. Maybe that's what they were going for. I quite don't understand. If that's the case, then they succeeded. This movie is fucking hilarious, and it's great and enjoyable in that sense. As far as a serious horror film, it doesn't get any horns for that in my eyes. But it can be fun and enjoyable in the right viewing way. But to me, is a serious film. Yeah. But as a comedy film, this would be fucking amazing. Tex, do you want to jump in?
I think that if I saw this movie with you guys in person and we were all sitting together watching it, I don't think I'd have any better experience than if I saw it by myself. I'd be really frustrated and bored. I'd probably bring out my laptop and start doing stuff on my laptop while you guys finished watching this crap, and I'd get up and excuse myself to go do a number 2 poo and not worry about you guys pausing it so I don't miss anything.
Note to self, I will say to get Tex to leave my house. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
I will say that the school, and I know this was more from Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1, but they included it in Part 2 in their flashbacks. But the school or the orphanage that they went to, I actually did like the cinematography of that because you can see that this little orphanage slash school slash church, whatever, was out in the middle of nowhere. Like, and it actually reminded me of where I went to school, because when I was in elementary and early middle school, my school was kind of out by the mountains with not a lot around. So seeing these kids like outside playing and seeing in the background that there's not really anything around except some mountains and that's it. I kind of like that because I kind of grew up that way a little bit. So, but other than that, that's it. This movie, like Andrew says, this movie sucked.
Okay. I will include one other thing, and I have a soft spot for this movie because I know it's how bad it is, but I still can't get enough of it just because the origin of the meme, Garbage Day, is one of my favorite memes. One, I was at Texas Frightmare last year and got to talk to Eric Freeman in a Q&A. One of the questions I asked him was about had he and Robert Brian Wilson ever worked together again? And the answer is yes. Actually, they had never worked together before. They play brothers in their own separate Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, but they worked together once in a made-for-TV Christmas movie called A Husband for Christmas. And they both play like these guys that are mover guys. And
really?
yeah, they and they get so they actually did get to act together in a real lovey-dovey Lifetime style Christmas movie together.
Well, hold on. You're leaving out that Vivica A. Fox is in this film.
Are you looking at Husband for Christmas?
Yeah, I hope this is the right film that I'm finding.
It is. Anyway, so but no, it was entertaining to get to meet those guys. And Eric Freeman, for a long time shied away from any recognition for this. And you guys' opinion of the movie might explain why. He does acknowledge the over the topness. He said that's just the way I went to do it because I wanted to do something different and they thought that was something. So very short shooting schedule and it is what it is. It's a very quickly thrown together sequel of a much better Christmas slasher. Here's something. Billy from the first one. Billy, Black Christmas? Coincidence? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to give it, I'm going to go ahead and give this one 2 horns just because guilty pleasure for me. 2 up, actually.
Okay.
No, that's too much. I can't lie. We're gonna do the great balancing act of 1 up, 1 down. Which makes it a 0 pretty much. I know I love this movie, and it's great for the time of year, but no, it's not a good movie. It's just a fun, shitty movie.
Yes, I appreciate that, Dano.
Thank you, Dano. You know what? I can't give this any horns down because it was enjoyable to watch. Is it a good movie? No, I'm kidding.
Of course, it was enjoyable to watch.
I was gonna go the straight voice and say 0 horns down.
You're kidding, right? You're kidding.
I believe him when he says it's enjoyable. I don't know how you couldn't enjoy it.
I broke character for a second, damn it. Okay, if I'm being seriously honest, I'm gonna give this 0 horns. It doesn't get anything. 0 horns. No horns up. It doesn't get horns down at all because it's an enjoyable, fun experience that's fun to watch, but it's not a good film. It's just not a good movie. It sucks, but if you watch this in the right way, I'm sure it would be a great, viewing experience. Sit down, have some friends, have some eggnogs, get some beers, get some whatever you partake in drug-wise in the alcoholic beverages. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun in that way. Or, if you enjoy sitting by the fire with your family, don't watch this with your family. I'm just kidding. It's just 0 to horns down for me. Not Not my favorite. Tex.
All right. For me, this is 4 horns down. This movie's crap. Um, it's not worth the toilet paper to wipe with. And yeah, like other than the school setting and the cinematography for that, 3 or 4 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, really. That's it, man. This was difficult to watch. It was painful. And like I said earlier, if I had watched it with you guys, I would not have had fun, even if you guys had been there. I would have been really annoyed and pissed that I was wasting my time, which I did. I totally wasted my time watching this movie. Sucks. 4 horns down.
So, you want it for Christmas? I know what I'm sending you in the mail.
Can we use this platform to ask each other what we want for Christmas?
I want $1 million.
Hey Dano, is it okay if I give you Electric Boogaloo?
Electric Boogaloo?
You know, the Electric Boogaloo about the worst movies made in the world.
Well, I'll take it, but I already own that documentary on Vudu.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, I enjoy that documentary. Was this featured in this? Was this a canon? This wasn't a canon film, was it?
No, I was just making a little punny joke.
I was about to say, like, this seems like it could have been a canon movie, but except Chuck Norris isn't in it.
But
did we ever have a Chuck Norris Santa Claus movie from canon? That's what we missed in life. We missed a Chuck Norris Santa Claus.
Hey, and so, speaking, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
I want to throw this out there because we forgot, or none of us mentioned. I think it's really worth noting that the director, going back to Black Christmas, since that's such a much better movie than Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. But Black Christmas, the director, also directed A Christmas Story, which is complete opposite of Black Christmas and is an infamous Christmas movie now that everyone watches every year and cable puts it on. And like A Christmas Story is such a big part of Christmas time now. I think it's worth noting that same director directed Black Christmas.
No shit, really? That's a piece of trivia that completely has gotten by me all these years. That's amazing.
Really? I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised that trivia has gotten past you.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's
Bob
just,
Clark.
You know what?
surreal as hell.
I did
He
not
also
know that
directed
either.
Porky's.
Oh, I also want to make a connection.
Porky's makes more sense.
Let me double check that this is correct before I say anything.
Oh yes, please make sure it's correct before you say anything.
Okay, so as far as I'm going to make a Christmas Story connection. So Ralphie from A Christmas Story was in Iron Man and also was in Spider-Man Far From Home as William Greider, who was the
he was the assistant to Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Mysterio.
Yeah, because
right.
Jake Gyllenhaal's character hired everybody from Iron Man's team.
Nerd
yes,
news.
I know, but I thought that was a cool connection to make.
You're a nerd.
All right, on.
That's okay. I'm a nerd too. No, that is a cool connection. I was happy that he was in Spider-Man in a significant role.
Oh yeah, no, he'd gotten significant screen time in that film, actually, a pretty decent amount, speaking roles.
But yeah, man, director Bob Clark, Black Christmas, Christmas Story. That's just amazing.
That's pretty hilarious, man. I had no idea, but that to me that just means he's responsible for more than one memorable Christmas movie. Then I know which one I'm going to watch soon. I don't know about you guys, but I having watched that Black Christmas, I did not watch it yet this year. I just watch it so often it's kind of stuck in my memory. But I'm after us talking about it again, I look forward to it. I hope other people look forward to it. If you get a chance to track it down, if you get a chance to watch Saturday Night Live, if you get a chance to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, don't listen to me. Listen to Tex, and because he's not wrong on this one. I say you watch that. If you want to watch Ricky do his thing, if you want to see Garbage Day, go on YouTube. Type in Garbage Day Massacre, whatever, and you will see the scene that you need to see. You can see pretty much every scene for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 that you want to see that isn't the original movie on YouTube. So But if you get a chance to get a double feature of both, I'd get both because it's worth it sometimes to put the second one on just to make, especially if you just finished watching the first one and then you're having a party and people were watching Silent Night, Deadly Night, and you put on part 2. They're like, didn't we just watch this shit? It's hilarious. Anyway. All right. Well, that's all I got, guys. Anything else before we wrap this one up?
Andrew?
Hell, that movie sucked. Anyways, Tex.
Yeah, I just want to give a special congratulations out to Mr. and Mrs. Whiskey in the AM on their new baby.
Hell yeah.
That was born this week. Congratulations, y'all. Merry Christmas. Happy Friday the 13th. All of that stuff. Congratulations, y'all. And also to all our friends, Hell, Bilko, Giddy, Drive By, Bill Man, all y'all, Merry Christmas, and everyone who listens to us, thank you very much. Let people know about us. We try our best to entertain. We don't always make it just like when I went off on a rant on metalheads in the last episode, which I apologize for. So now I feel a lot better.
Yay! I feel better too. I feel like you apologized to me.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go off on a rant about that.
No, it was fun. This was
no more
fun too.
drinky poo before podcast for Tex.
Okay, well that works too. All right, well I guess that's good. Then, like I reiterate the Merry Christmases to everyone. If you want to subscribe. We're going to be talking at least one more time before the month goes out because we got Star Wars business to attend to.
Star Wars and all day breakfast.
We'll be talking about that soon enough. So, all right. For Video Store Graveyard, peace out and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And I will close out the video with, hey guys, this is the end of the video or podcast, however you're listening to this. So if you went ahead and you liked this, go ahead and give us a like on the YouTube, whatever you're here listening to this on. If you want to go ahead and subscribe for future notifications on videos and whatever we got coming, please do that. Go ahead and click the bell icon on YouTube because for some reason YouTube does not say that you just want to subscribe to us. So go ahead, that help us out a bunch. I hope everybody is having a great Christmas time of the year. And that's all, folks. See you later.
Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video Store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Time to power up the VCR. Headed to the graveyard of films near and far. Watching the strangeness we find on the way. Three crazy friendos with plenty to say. Hey, come on our journey if you're so inclined. Leave sanity, hope, and good taste behind. Life isn't easy, but whatever is. Video Store Graveyard is open for biz. Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video Store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video Store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for.